Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Manchester United live stream on United Talks Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about, basically everything when it comes to Manchester United. We'll talk about the news. We'll talk about all things that are making the headlines. We'll just kind of give you a breakdown of everything that's going on on the day. I mean, especially in the last 48 hours. We couldn't go live yesterday due to some unforeseen circumstances, but apparently we're still here now to give you the news, to give you what you need, the news that you need, the news that you can use, because there's a whole lot going on social media. There's a whole lot going on online, even with the mainstream media and stuff. So we're here to break them down. But obviously, it is actually said on social media that Man United are in the chaos. They're in a chaotic scenario, and that is pretty much what they've peddled on social media. If you check like X and stuff, like you see some of these reporters putting out stuff and saying Man United are in chaos, Man United are having issues. But we as fans will see things as real as they can, and we bring you the way they are. There's a whole lot happening at Old Trafford right now. And it's not just on the pitch, it's also behind the scenes with Sir Jim Ratcliffe's cost-cutting regime causing waves on social media, like a whole lot of things being talked about. Reports of discontent are also emerging at Carrington, and questions are being asked about whether the club's proud traditions, especially in the academy, are being sacrificed for efficiency. And that is how they peddle it. And if you don't sift through all of the things that they've put out there, you will most likely fall for it. Right now, there's also the fact that obviously Rúben Amorim's tactical approach became a thing of a question, which divided opinions. When Rooney and Simon Jordan weighing in publicly and yet intriguingly inside the club. The players are said to also be backing the manager firmly, 100% behind their head coach, and all of that. So we'll unpack all these news and all these stories tonight. But the good, the bad, and the future, basically, we're going to also break down, including new transfer whispers about a certain Senegalese youngster, Mouhamed Dabo. There's also fresh updates on the academy redevelopment plans, and even the talk of Unai Emery being eyed as a backup plan if Rúben Amorim's project fails. So just grab your drink, grab a popcorn, hit the like button, and let's get into this. Let's break it down step by step, line by line, and we will have those conversations. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. So this is Manchester United live on United Talks Podcast. Let's start with the story of the chaos at Carrington. So I tag this the Carrington chaos, and it's kind of like the cost-cutting or costly mistake. We're just going to talk about it briefly, and then you can let me know your thoughts and feelings about it. First and foremost, we start with the story that was dominating headlines earlier today about Carrington being in crisis. First, it was Laurie Whitwell who reported that some troubling details, about the academy building. And honestly, it's shocking to hear this about Manchester United. But what can we say? Obviously, when Manchester United makes the headlines, it makes good for reading, especially for those who are particularly interested in, the news, and it's good for clicks, right? And then, obviously, Laurie Whitwell said that the academy block, built in 2002 and refurbished in 2017, has reportedly fallen into despair, with allegations including uncleaned toilets, bins left unemptied, fading signage, worn pitches, and not enough maintenance staff to keep up the basic standards. Yeah, they will push anything in it. So even the pitch parameters, once immaculate, are said to be littered and poorly maintained. This is a very demeaning kind of article. You'll find this online on The Athletic. Basically, was pushed out this morning and all of that. And according to that article, he says here's where it gets worse. Staff shortages have apparently reached such a point that all personnel wearing club tracksuits, including academic coaches and first-team analysts, are now washing their own kits. The only exception, the players, Rúben Amorim and the first-team staff. And I'm like, I've never seen anything like this reported about any other club, whether they do it or not, be it Sunderland, be it Wolverhampton Wanderers or anything. The most important thing is that the club is delivering, especially when it comes to on the pitch. What happens in the back end is for the back end. But because they want to, push, in fact, maybe this article said it too as well at some point, because we're all kind of analyzing it together. At some point, I think there was a news that went out this morning that the Manchester United Academy boys are borrowing shorts. Like, have we turned to a Sunday League club? But, yeah. Well, it is what it is. Basically, he said that now that might sound small, but it's symbolic. I mean, this is Manchester United we're talking about, a club built on excellence, discipline and standards. And when your under 13s have to borrow I said that when your under 13 13s have to borrow shorts and socks from Everton because there weren't enough clean kits available, that's not just embarrassing. That's an indictment on the infrastructure management. And I think I know it's coming from Laurie Whitwell, and we are expected to believe because it's credible, but I don't see how relevant this is to what it is. Like, I don't know what to think or believe about this. Maybe you just let me know your opinion in the comment section, but I don't know what to think about this, but it is kind of like damning. And the truth is, I don't know. The club cannot come out to defend it, so I don't know. There's a whole lot of drama. There's no day that passes by without Manchester United drama, be it behind the scenes and, in front, like basically with the media and stuff like that. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's cost-cutting strategy has also been aggressive since Ineos took charge. He slashed non-paying staff, trimmed operational budgets, and also enforced strict financial discipline across departments, and that's all fine. Modern football needs efficiency, but the question is at what cost? Because while you save millions on staff wages and cleaning contracts, you risk damaging the very fabric of what makes Manchester United special. That's professionalism, pride, the academy system that has actually defined generations of players. And if you see this kind of report and you see the contrasting reports with what Manchester United, this is like about a month ago, what Manchester United has made with regards to profits and stuff, then it tends to now make you question anything you see online. That's pretty much what I would say. It makes you question anything you see online. Because while you save a few millions on cleaning contracts, the question is at what risk, at what cost? Especially with cleaning contracts, you risk damaging the very fabric of the club. But now there's a twist. The story doesn't end with doom and gloom, right? According to Laurie Whitwell, United are planning a state-of-the-art new academic complex at Carrington. Now, this is the main story. You see, they had to kind of fill us up with all of this. I don't know what to call it. They had to dump a lot of stuff on us with the negative and then twist it and say, oh, the main thing is that Manchester United wants to actually build an academy, a state-of-the-art academy. Meanwhile, we already knew from middle of last season that Manchester United we're building stuff in phases, that the players had to move to a certain part of the building and the women had to move to a certain part so that we can actually renovate the part that we have as a state-of-the-art Carrington, and then we have moved from that phase, we're moving to phase 2. You could just come out and say, oh, we are in phase 2 of the project. Man United will not debunk anything. They can say whatever they want to say. They can say, oh, where the training ground is dirty, the cleats are dirty, and all of that. But the real story here is that, according to Laurie Whitwell, again in the same article, that Man United are planning a state-of-the-art new academy complex at Carrington, and the new academy director, Stephen Topi, is leading the project. It's meant to bring the youth setup in line with the first team modern facilities and ensure the next generation of United players develop in a truly elite environment. This is the main story. This is the main story. Now, the main fact in all of this is that we are in transition. The old Carrington is gone, because literally they just really did spend 50 million on the old Carrington. But the idea is to rebuild and not abandon. The worry, though, is that in the short term, morale is dropping and the standards are slipping, but the club is rebuilding. Like, we're growing, we're evolving. But that's, by the way, there's no need to kind of flog this and all that. Yeah, let's move on to the next thing, basically. With regards to Manchester United news and all of that, despite all the things that have gone on in the media with rival clubs, I'm going to do a video specifically about the Manchester United media bias and the agenda against Manchester United. I've done the research and I've looked at recent reports and recent news, and I've also kind of analyzed it and basically compared it with what's going on with rival clubs like Liverpool and all of that, to give you a bit of an idea as to what is going on at Manchester United and what the media is saying about Man United. But this one, I'm just going to say, because obviously it's what was going on in the media yesterday with Wayne Rooney, Peter Schmeichel, and obviously the tactical debates, including what Simon Jordan had to say with regards to Amorim still being under fire. So let's talk about Rúben Amorim. I mean, basically, the scrutiny is intensifying, basically. When Rooney, speaking to Sky, gave a fair but firm assessment. He said Amorim changed his style against Sunderland, going more direct, with the goalkeeper and Benjamin Sesko being used as focal points, and it worked, Rooney said. And I quote, "You have to give him credit for that." Now, the question is, which will continue to analyze as we go. The question is basically, just give me 1 second. Oh, never mind. Anyway, the question here is basically, he says, oh, you have to give him credit for that. But my question is, was Amorim not already using that style or those tactics before that game? Yes, he was. He just wasn't connecting. And just to give you a bit of a context, I watched a video of a compilation of Manchester United games, I think over the last 5-6 years, from under under Ten Hag to Rúben Amorim. And there was some videos I watched of when De Gea was the goalkeeper, and I watched another video of when we moved from De Gea to because I remember even under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer too as well. We had De Gea and went to a couple finals and stuff. We lost in some finals. One of the most painful ones for me was against Villarreal in the Europa League final. And then we went on to Ten Hag, and we got to some finals. We lost some finals, and if not that, we scored goals, especially in games against Liverpool. Andrew Onana would have cost us some games, especially in the quarter or semi-finals against Liverpool at Old Trafford. So yeah, when I watch them now, those videos now, like that video, I actually kept it. Probably would do an analysis on it in another video. But when I watch that video, that compilation now, it now becomes more damning with regards to what Onana has given Manchester United since he signed, or the issues we had with De Gea that made Man United fans turn their backs on him, or what Altebender has done so far, and then compared to the one game that we're using to kind of be happy about with St. Lomans. So it's yeah, it's pretty much interesting to see, and it gives you a context or an idea of what actually is going on at Manchester United, especially in the goalkeeping department. Yeah, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Just like this video so we can go out, get out there, and also comment as well. Let's have conversations. Just drop your comments, ask your questions, and we'll dive deep. So Amorim is under fire, but also Rooney and Schmeichel had stuff to say. Rooney said Amorim changed his tactics in the game against Sunderland, but I don't think that is the case. It just became very obvious, and it became like there was now more scrutiny on what Rúben Amorim was doing for Manchester United that led to the fact that people started to see it as if he changed his tactics, but he actually didn't change his tactics. He just did the same thing but did it better. The players did it better that day and delivered that day, and it worked. And if you look at it after that first half, I think even in the middle of the first half, like in the 36 minutes after we had already gone 2 goals up, Sunderland actually changed their formation to a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, depending on what you want to, how you want to see it. And I looked at the structure of how Man United lined up against Sunderland, as well as how Man United lined up against Brentford, then compared it to how Man United, were able to defeat Sunderland. So think about it from that perspective. You can just slow the videos and you would see like the lineup and how Man United, were able to capitalize. And the focal point for that, which I think I might have to do another video separately for that, is Mason Mount being in that midfield. And Rúben Amorim alluded to it in his post-match press conference, where he said that Mason Mount is not just your regular attacking midfielder. He's the kind of guy that would also, affect the game from the midfield, pressing in the midfield, dropping back when necessary, pushing up when necessary, coming late into the box when necessary, and all of that. So just doing the right things at the right time. So when Rooney's saying that, I'm not completely against it, but then it's like he's saying that Amorim changed tactics because of the pressure. No, the tactics has been there. The way we played going direct this season has been more consistent. Think about the game against Chelsea. It was that direct play from Alderweireld, good passing accuracy in that game that led to Chelsea getting a red card. Then next thing I'm seeing a narrative already being pushed. Oh, the last 8 games for Manchester United, the last 8 Man United wins in the Premier League have been against teams with who have gone a man down, which is who had a red card, or teams who are in the newly promoted sides. So they've changed it. It's no longer a narrative of, oh, Man United under pressure. It's now, oh, Man United are winning against newly promoted sides and teams that are one man down. I'm like, they're just looking for the lowest common denominator or the highest common factor of or to actually judge Manchester United, and it's a crazy narrative to push, especially for Manchester United. We're not the ones that said Sanchez should go and foul what's his name, Brian Mbeumo, to get a red card against Chelsea. We're not the one. If we lost to Burnley, it would have been, oh, Amorim has lost the plot, Amorim is out of depth. If we lost to Sunderland, the same thing. We won Sunderland, we won Burnley, we won the teams that were in front of us. So you're going to say against newly promoted sides and against sides that were one man down. We are not the ones that said this side should be one man down. That's the fact. That's the absolute facts. Okay, what about the games that we won in the Europa League when we had to sacrifice the Premier League, right? Okay, what about the time when we're leading 1-0 when against Aston Villa before Emi Martinez got the red card? Like, think about it. These are narratives that are being pushed just to create their own story and feel like they're tacticals when it comes to, Manchester United and stuff. But there are other clubs like Liverpool. Nobody's talking about how they've lost 3 games in a row, because in Liverpool's case, it is a point to where, oh, they are now in transition. What about Man United? Have been in transition for the last 12 months. Man United changed from 4-2-3-1 and brought in a manager that brings a whole new system and changed the entire front three. And also, within that time period, changed the back 4. Let's go back to last season. Think about it. We brought in De Ligt, brought in Mazraoui, and brought in Joshua Zirkzee, brought in a couple of players. They have not even gelled yet. Then we now have a situation where we now bring in, I think we even brought in Ugarte itself at that point. Now, we now have a situation where we now came this season and brought in an entire front three. We still haven't strengthened the midfield. We are still trying to rebuild. We're in transition. We're rebuilding. No. Man United are not in transition. They are down in the doldrums. The manager is sinking the club into oblivion. That's the one I saw on social media. But we'll talk about it. We'll break it down. Break it down further in another video. I'll give you a deep dive. I've done that research, and the script is telling. Literally, the script is really telling. But we really didn't stop there. He added that Amorim, that for Amorim, time will tell. But he's a really good young manager. But what we've seen so far doesn't tell us that yet. So basically, we can see the patterns, the systems. When Manchester United win, yeah, it's all good and rosy. When Manchester United lose, oh yeah, he's lost the plot and it's crazy. So you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't, still, either ways. But it's balanced. There's praise for adaptability, but doubt about consistency, which is what Rúben Amorim has been saying time and again, that Man United have not been consistent. The players have not been consistent. We're searching for consistency and trying to find a balance with consistency. Now, Rooney's point is very simple. United need to string together a couple of wins. I've said this time and again. We just need to win 2 or 3 games, 4 games on the spin, and the story will change. A good result here and there won't convince anyone, basically. Obviously, that's the fact. Because we're in a situation where in the league where it's now a win-lose, win-lose, win-lose. So we need to string up a couple of wins, have a good away record, because that's where it's killing us, our away record. And then we can build from there and take it to the next level, right? Modern football, then there are other things with regards to that. He said something important about leadership, and he said that modern football lacks true leaders, and this squad will need to pull together fast to get through difficult patches, and that's a fact. Basically, that's a fact. Then you've got Peter Schmeichel saying his own too, speaking about Senna Lommans. He said United's young goalkeeper who debuted recently, he said that Lommans did well, but that the pressure at Man United is relentless. Rúben Amorim alluded to that in the post-match press conference as well, saying that the pressure is relentless, especially on the goalkeeper, right? But that we will only find out how good he is when he makes mistakes and how he responds to them. Facts, and that's what Amorim was trying to do, protect the player in such a way that when it gets to the point of dealing with the pressure that comes with Manchester United goalkeepers, he will be able to handle it. So it is what it is. We have to just keep building and keep evolving as a team, especially with what we've seen with Lommans and his leadership and his control, his calmness, and he seems to be that so-called rock Iron Dome kind of guy. His training methods we've seen online different, but someone tried to do a comparison between Senna Lommans and Altabander in their training. They showed a clip of Altabander doing a stretch, and they showed a clip of Senna Lommans practicing goalkeeping, and I'm like, it's like, oh, their training methods are different. No, Altabander does that stretch every time, but we will not deny the fact that Senna Lommans has been a revelation for Manchester United, especially from his first game. You could tell good things, and the good thing about Senna Lommans that I saw in that game is the fact that we had a goalkeeper who could actually catch the ball. We had a goalkeeper who didn't just rely solely on just his punches. We had a goalkeeper who had good reflexes, which brings me back to the video I just said earlier that I watched, where I saw the silly mistakes that Altabander and David De Gea. I'm not saying that especially with David De Gea, I'm not saying he wasn't perfect. He's a legend at the club. But the silly mistakes that Altabander, David De Gea, and Andrew Onana made that led to us not winning certain games, especially when we came so close under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and when we came so close under Erik ten Hag in winning the FA Cup and Carabao Cup in the same season, right? It was still due to Onana's mistakes, the way he, like the goals against Liverpool that we won 4-3, if you remember correctly, either 4-3 or 3-2, if you remember correctly, there was a shot that Andrew Onana could have saved. He punched it and it still went into the net. No firm hands. Same thing happened when we faced Man City in the final in the FA Cup. There was a shot from Jeremy Doku that Onana could have saved, but all he did was parry it into the net. He didn't save it. And I'll say, the excuses, there were 2 defenders in the way. But Senna Lommans had similar situation in the game against Sunderland, and he still was able to save it, and still was able to, make himself big and all of that. Yeah. So it's pretty obvious that Andre Onana, cost us some games last season and 2 seasons ago. So yeah, hopefully I hear he's having good form. I think he's had 2 clean sheets already at Trabzonspor. So we'll hopefully, expect him to continue that rich vein of form so we can actually make good money from him by selling him and all that. But he's also considered silly goals at Trabzonspor. And the truth is, I backed him. I won't lie to you. But in the end, you back what you have until they are gone. And then he's gone now on loan, albeit. But I expect that Man United can move on from Andre Onana and a couple of other players that need to be moved on from, especially after this season. I'm pretty sure that at the end of the season, like 4 players will be let go. That's facts. I'm sure of this. 4 players will let go. But let's keep it going. So let's talk about what Peter Schmeichel said about St. Lamans. He says we'll only find out how good he is when he makes mistakes and how he responds to them. But it's also a powerful reminder that the club doesn't give breathing room. This club doesn't give breathing room, especially with the media on our necks all the time. Even when you perform decently, the microscopes never turns off, and that's the point I was trying to make. And then the criticism from pundits like Simon Jordan, who never ceases to talk more about anything and have an opinion about everything. And I'm not opposed to his opinion, but I'm opposed to the fact that you have to criticize a club whether they win or they don't win. Man United are a problem for him. He absolutely slammed Amorim this week, accusing him of talking too much. Bro, if you are asked a question in the press, what should you do? Keep quiet? He talks. He's going to talk. And it's because he's Man United. That's why the scrutiny is so loud. Right? He's going to talk. He will talk. He will answer questions. He says, that Amorim is talking too much and making Man United worse. That's classic Simon Jordan, harsh and performative. Obviously, everybody knows that he likes to perform, right? But it touches the real issue, Amorim's communication style. Maybe because people don't understand, well, it's all up to anyone to make of it what they will. But whether you understand or you don't understand, even whether you say it's a language barrier or not, Rúben Amorim actually, basically gives detailed information, and he's very honest, and he's a breath of fresh air for most Manchester United fans, at least from the first time he came. Very honest and straightforward about what he wanted to achieve, what he wanted to do at Man United. So it's pretty straightforward on all of that. He says, Rúben Amorim is being performative. Also, he says, and the fact is, Amorim is very open in his press conferences, sometimes blunt, and that doesn't actually go down well in England. If he's blunt, it doesn't go down well. If he's not blunt, it still doesn't go down well. So you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't, especially when it comes to Manchester United. Now, tactically speaking, Amorim's vision is very clear, maybe too clear. The data paints an interesting picture after 7 league games, basically. Now, there was this fact that I saw online, I think it was on Stretford Paddock. I saw this where they said that Manchester United in the Premier League are the only team to have won 3 games in the last 7. Like 3 games in the last 7. I don't know how that stat came to be, but in the last 4 games we've won 3. I think that's pretty much I think that's what they were trying to mean. Last 4 games we've won 3 since the international break. But now, tactically speaking, Amorim's vision is very clear, maybe too clear, and the data paints an interesting picture. After 7 league games, United are first in completed long passes, first in percentage of goalkeeper launches, 18th in touches in our own third, and 17th in touches inside our box. So it's like the ball is away from us and we're in the opposition box, and this tells everything. Amorim's Manchester United don't want to build, from the back as often as Erik ten Hag does it. Basically, what I mean is like passing the ball out from the back into and transitioning into different phases of play, especially with the way the Premier League has evolved with the style of play and stuff. They want to bypass pressure, go long, fight for second balls, and attack vertically. And the fact is, you could see how many second balls were won against Sunderland. It's pretty obvious. And to be fair, it's not without positives. United are currently first in total shots, third in non-penalty XG, third in carries into the box, which means that we also get the chance to carry the ball from midfield into the opposition box, and third in opposition box touches, right? We have have the third most touches in the opposition box. So offensively, we're creating volume. The problem, quality. United are 14th in shots on target and 12th in actual goals scored, and creating chances as well, but not finishing them, which is also an issue, or has been an issue for a long time. The speed of transition often kills the composure as well. So these are the things and the stats that we need to, pay attention to understand where we are lacking and what could have been. I mean, if we scored the goals against Fulham, scored the opportunity against Brentford, and we had the chances, we scored 1-on-1 against Man City and probably it will be a different story being told by now, but it is what it is. Also, nobody's also considering the fact that we've had the toughest fixtures since the beginning of the season, right? Defensively, there's also a trade-off. The high pressing and direct play reduces shots conceded overall, but the ones they do allow are high quality, and United rank first in XG per shot allowed and first in shots on target conceded. So we seem to be conceding high quality shots when it comes to XG, and we seem to be allowing high quality shots as well when it comes to the goals that we've conceded and all of that. So when the opponents break through, they get golden chances, and Amorim's system isn't chaotic like Ten Hag's end-to-end era, but is also still far from compact, and that is what we try to build from in the Sunderland game. And when opponents also try to get chances as well, it's also like they tend to kind of convert their big chances. So when opponents and then in summary of this whole Amorim tactics and all, Amorim style works against weak teams and sometimes against top teams that press high. But in those middle tier matches or matchups where teams sit deep and force United to create, it looks limited. So the dilemma here right now is that he's building something and it is evolving, and he said it will evolve over time, but it can take United. Now the question I want to ask you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, is that can it take United to the next level? I mean, that's where the fans are actually divided in this conversation. I watched an interview of my United fan. He was a bit like he started to flip-flop a little bit, and that's what was funny about his comment. He said, I believe I back Amorim to an extent. This also, he's saying I'm backing him like 70%, and then he said, I believe that if we get a win against Liverpool, we potentially would see a different story. And then he goes on to say, if we don't get a win against Liverpool, I think Amorim will still stay on. And then the Liverpool fan says, you still back the manager? He goes from, I back him 50% to I back him 90%. I don't back him 90%. I don't believe in him 90%. And then next thing, I don't believe in him, he's going to be sacked, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this guy is just really not a true fan. You're not backing the manager, you're backing the club, you're backing the team, you're backing the team to deliver, right? But it is what it is. The question, the fans are divided, and this is not the point for us as Man United fans to be divided. This is a point where we need to actually come together and actually back our team and support and push against the narrative of the media. Now, the next segment of this conversation that we're having right now is basically around player support and the internal unity in the squad, and I have so many articles to back it. The most fans probably don't know that despite all the noise, the players are behind Rúben Amorim. Rob Dawson of the ESPN reports that Omar Berrada and Jesse Wilcox have held direct conversations with key members of the squad, including Bruno Fernandes and the leadership group, and they came away convinced that the dressing room is still united behind Rúben Amorim. And that's massive because often at United, when the media narrative turns negative, leaks and fractures, follow. And then this time, the leadership wanted to nip it in the bud by stating that they are backing the manager. I'll read you an article from The Guardian, and basically we can analyze it and move on to the next one. Bruno, as captain, has reportedly reiterated that the squad reflects and respects Amorim's methods, which is against what the media has been pushing over the last couple of weeks. They understand the growing pains, especially as the team adjusts to a new tactical system. Players like Sesko, Cunha, and Ugarte all brought under Amorim. Not Ugarte. Sesko, Cunha, and Bumo, as well as even Diogo Leon and the new players that are coming. They're starting to find rhythm. Ugarte has struggled a little bit, but I think Ugarte came under Erik ten Hag at the beginning of last season, right? So internally, there's no crisis. The club believes in the process, and Amorim's job is not under threat, as was stated before even the Sunderland game, and at least not yet, but the results ultimately will decide that. And with the results, we shall tell if Rúben Amorim will deliver, right? So back over to the article that I told you about from The Guardian. Manchester United are 100% behind Rúben Amorim, which is what Mason Mount has said. Basically, he said that Manchester United, Mr. Mount said Manchester United's players are 100% behind Rúben Amorim after the 2-0 victory against Sunderland, which is United's third win of the season, thanks to goals from Mount himself and Benjamin Sesko to give Amorim some respite with his future under scrutiny. Now, United have now won 3 in a row at Old Trafford, which is a fact that nobody wants to talk about. At Old Trafford, and also secured the first clean sheet of the campaign. United will travel to Liverpool after the international break, seeking consecutive wins under the Portuguese head coach for the first time. So, Ruben, this is what Mr. Mount said. We are 100% behind the gaffer. Mount told BBC Sport, we've had some results that hurt us, the team and the staff and the fans, but that was important today. We thought after Chelsea it will be the start of something, and then go to Brentford and have a disappointing result. It starts today, and we'll be working hard over the break. We want to get back-to-back wins and then 3 in a row and push on for the top 4. Amorim called on the players to show the support in the weeks ahead. He said, I saw today and I know what they want to do and the best, and I know that they want to do the best. They don't want to change the coach all the time. This is what he said post-match. They don't want to change the coach all the time. He also said, but like I said this week, being with a manager is I will kill myself to do anything in every transition. We need to show with action. So it's like being with a manager means that I will do anything to remain relevant in the squad and to also deliver. Sometimes when we look at our team, I know for sure that they know sometimes we can do better. We need to show it on the pitch, not just at home, but also abroad. Amorim also was rewarded for starting Mr. Mount, who got his and gave a debut to St. Lamans. The goalkeeper joined from Royal Antwerp and for 21 million euros. Then he was asked with regards to St. Lamans why he left Lamans at the start. Amorim said when Senna arrived here, first of all, Alta was already playing, and then he arrives and you can feel it. He needs to adapt. New country, new training. The pressure you guys put on the goalkeeper was massive, so it was a little preparation for him to be ready to start his first game. And this actually goes far to say what Rúben Amorim thinks about St. Lamans and the potential of him, being in the first team, come the next couple of weeks, especially even the next game against Liverpool, seeing that Artebender is already on the bench. And St. Lamans didn't go on international break, so he has enough time, right? But it's just one game and he needs to work. He needs to be prepared in our club things are really hard, but he did well, and again he was comfortable during the game, and that's really a good sign. So this was what Rúben Amorim had to say post-match with regards to St. Lamans' performance and all of that. Now the next segment is Transfer Watch, which we're going to be talking about with Mouhamed Dabo and the future planning for Manchester United. If we could go deep into details. Now, on the transfer front, there are some exciting news, especially from Fabrizio Romano. He's saying that Man United are working on formal steps to sign Senegalese teenager Mouhamed Dabo. He was just 17, but the club is desperately... the club is reportedly thrilled with what they've seen during his trial. Romano also said that United are very happy with his talent and want to complete the move as soon as possible. So he said it's early days and the club still needs to sort out work permits, registration, formalities, and all of that, but this shows a clear pattern. And the truth is, we've talked about this multiple times in different ways and different videos and stuff. I released a video yesterday talking about, the player profile for Cristiano Rosco, a player that Manchester United signed from Fortaleza, and then obviously in Paraguay. But the Colombia International. Now the fact is, obviously, Man United are going for young targets, midfield for the future. Like I said at the top of the show, basically, I am sure that five players are leaving at the end of the season. That's facts. 5 players. I'm not talking about the ones on loan. The ones on loan, obviously, from there they're going to go. But 5 other players from this squad are leaving at the end of the season. Some of them are in their second year of playing for Manchester United, and obviously the rule that Omar Berrada has set as standards at the club, that once they get to the second year and they're not able to deliver, they're going to be shipped out. So we shall observe. But for Mouhamed Dabo, and then to even have completed Cristiano Rosco, it means that we're going for the future. When it comes to defensive midfield, we're going to have depth, no matter who the manager is, right? But like Romano has said, United are very happy with his talent and want to complete the move as soon as possible. And they're still working on formalities, but it shows that there is a pattern to signing new players. United are doubling down on youth recruitment from players that were being scouted in the past, to Senna Lamans, to now Dabo, to even getting players like I said, Cristiano Rosco. It's about getting high ceiling talent early, developing them in-house, and avoiding overpriced senior market. You think about the young striker that was signed and then sent on loan to Lausanne Sport. And then you also have other upcoming players that are coming from the academy. Actually, when I watch on 21s and stuff, you could tell that these players are going to be good squad material when they come. And this is where new academy director Stefan Toppe, his vision kicks in. His mandate is to rebuild the pipeline at Carrington's youth facilities back to actually the world level or world-class level, as the case may be, and fill them with elite prospects. And United's academy might also look messy now, but the long-term plan is ambitious. And the truth is, the academy boys are doing really fantastic. They're doing really well, winning games and coming from behind. The last game they played, I think, was the under 21s on there. Yeah, under 21s. Came from behind 1-0 down to win 2-1. Right? So there's a whole lot. Now, to the next one that I actually don't believe, which is the next one with the future of Rúben Amorim and Unai Emery being rumored to be the next manager for Manchester United. We're going to talk about this and we're going to break it down, and I'll let you know some things. It's an inevitable rumor, obviously, but reports from Fichajes, like Fichajes, or however I pronounce it, Fichajes, claims that Manchester United are now coming around to the idea that Aston Villa boss Unai Emery could be the ideal replacement if Rúben Amorim fails. And I understand the Unai Emery link. He works well in a shoestring budget, and he's able to kind of work with the players and play a certain style of play and all of those things. But you have to think about it from the perspective of it being a rumor, and you take it with a pinch of salt and take it with it what you make of it what you will. So it is it's pretty interesting, like I said before, before we take it too far, take it with a grain of salt. Fichajes is not basically the most reliable, but the name Emery makes sense on paper. That one, you can see it, you can know that, this for a fact. It's one who basically it makes sense on paper, but it's not. Proven in the Premier League, yes. Tactically flexible, yes, and also experienced in rebuilding clubs under pressure. Yep, but then the thing is, you look at where Villa is, you look at where Villa was last season, you look at where Villa was 2 seasons ago, they're still on the same level. And like I always say, in every managerial link with Manchester United, Man United is a different beast. You cannot take that away. Manchester United is a different beast altogether. So, yeah. However, sources closer to United insist that Amorim's position is safe for now, and the hierarchy wants stability. The focus is on letting him finish this project, not starting over again mid-season like we had last season, and we have to struggle. And the next thing, you have the manager bounce. And then, I mean, look at Liverpool. They had a manager bounce all through last season. I won't lie to you, that was a manager bounce. But you see now, when people find them out, boom, they start, it cannot evolve. And especially spending over $500 million to build that squad, they can't evolve, right? So it is what it is. Now, still on the fact that Emery's name is being floated, shows how fragile patience can be at Old Trafford, especially with the fans. Amorim knows that he has to deliver consistency quickly, but the next run of fixtures, especially the one against Newcastle and Tottenham, will let us, basically know if what he's saying makes sense and if he has the staying power. Our next run of fixtures include, just to get you acclimatized with what is going on with Manchester United. Our next run of fixtures, just give me one quick second here. So our next run of fixtures, the next one we have obviously is against Liverpool. We face Liverpool, and then from Liverpool we go on, just give me 1 second. So we face Liverpool. After Liverpool, so these are our next five fixtures. We face Liverpool. After Liverpool we face Brighton. After Brighton, Nottingham Forest. We face Tottenham, and then we face Everton. So it gets easier as we go, even though Everton, Tottenham and Brighton are not pushovers, but it gets easier as we go. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section as we build towards, how things pan out, especially for Manchester United and all things Man United. So now let's kind of sum this all up. Before we sum up, let me give you some of the news that have gone on in the last 24 hours. Give me one quick second. Now, this one, obviously, because it's Manchester United, everybody will say whatever they want to say and push out whatever they want to push. The majority of new signings live in accommodation provided by the club in hotels or luxury city center apartments, and they are there for a long time, living essentially on a catered life to ensure they can focus on settling into their new playing environment without other distractions. 5 weeks after arriving on our shores, Rumours has already sorted his own private housing, a sure sign he is planning for a long stay. He has a contract at Manchester United. This is according to Peter Hall. He has a contract at Manchester United. It is expected that he's going to have a house. How is this news? It is expected that he's definitely going to have a house, but it is what it is. And then the next one is Manchester United head of academy recruitment, Luke Fedorenko set to leave the club. Fedorenko helped build a new recruitment center and push the use of data and video scouting. During his time at the club, academic graduates contributed to over £200 million in player sales. So Fedorenko wants to leave. This according to The Athletic and the Meeting. So we will get another new head of academy recruitment. That one is definitely Christopher Vivell is involved in academic recruitment as well. So it is what it is. Also, sources close to St. Lamens, this is according to Peter Hall as well. Pete Hall, sources close to St. Lamens says he's the first one into the training and the last one out. He does extra sessions all the time. So whether that is working on his distribution or other things, whether that is working as it's hardly groundbreaking to come in and work this hard initially, but it certainly sets the tone. He means business. Bro, Man United club is a big club. Whether he means business or not, he's supposed to mean business because there's too much pressure. There's too much pressure on the team. There's too much pressure on the club. There's too much scrutiny and stuff. Like, why would he not mean business? But it is what it is. They want to push anything they want to push. You have to just walk with it and move with it however they put it out. Then you think about the new one. This one is new. It wasn't new. Over the last week, it's been trending since the Brentford game. We knew this. in the match, but it's good that Pogba are coming out to say. But with Pogba saying it now, it doesn't change the narrative. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't move the needle, because the truth is the mistakes will still be made. Howard Webb, head of Pogba, has acknowledged to Manchester United that the decision not to send off Brentford's Nathan Collins last weekend was incorrect. Yeah, we already knew this, but they just chose not to send him off. Right? United have not made a public fuss over the situation, but behind the scenes have acted, given the potential implications for under pressure manager Rúben Amorim. They are understood to have appreciated Webb's honesty and transparency in acknowledging the mistake. This is according to Mike Keegan on X as well. Same, all of these narratives. We already knew from time that there were issues, right? There were issues. Yeah, I think there's how many? Two more? Yeah, two more. Now, one other thing again that was in the news as of the last 24 hours is that when this was according to Amorim Era online, popular guy on X, he said when we get frustrated at Amorim for team selections, myself included, we sometimes forget the long-term aims of what he's doing. There's an argument that Sesko and Rumours should have been thrown in earlier, but you can also argue that they both benefited from that adaptation period on the bench. There are two young guys, these are two young guys, both coming in from different countries to a new league, right? To a new league entirely, not just any club either, but the most intense high-pressure giant of them all. Obviously, it's not popular to acknowledge this because football is a results game. Everybody wants results, facts, but these short-term sacrifices may be facilitating long-term successes at the club. They should both now have the confidence plus platform to be regular starters. But that's one thing that most people tend to miss. That these guys needed time to be bedded into the club. Then, obviously, this is another one that was trending. Obviously, Man United fans need to learn to be patient, learn to understand that there is a building, there's a rebuild going on, and these players need to understand the pressures of being at Manchester United. And then, obviously, this is another big news also from Amorim Era as well. Gary Neville's big quote, no, not from Amorim Era. This is an Amorim fan, basically. I think Amorim's Reds, that's the X handle. He says, Gary Neville's big quotes on Amorim claims that pundits are getting into the players' heads. That's actually absolute facts. Like, pundits are getting in players' heads. They know it. How come? Yeah, I didn't want to go into that research I did. How come nobody's talking about Liverpool losing 3 games back-to-back and saying, oh, and it's not, he's under pressure, he needs to go, he needs to do this. He lost to Crystal Palace, lost to Chelsea, the same Chelsea that we beat. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy. Okay, what about the Florian Wirtz? Players that were signed, over $500 million that was spent on the squad. We keep talking about these things, but the pundits don't talk about that because Liverpool is their... whatever Liverpool is. And then Gary Neville as well coming out to say stuff like, yeah, he says, I've got a lot of time for that. If pundits are getting to your heads, then you shouldn't be playing for the club. Simple as that. I mean, do people not remember Alan Hansen criticizing us when we broke in as young kids that you can't win anything with kids? Just that one comment. Like, we all agree, we know. He says he's not criticizing you, he's criticizing Alex Ferguson. Because obviously, Alex Ferguson knew where was oh my days. Anyway, it is what it is. That was the greatest centre-back of all time at the moment. Do they not think we didn't get criticized during football careers? Yes, you got criticized, but there was no social media. That's the fact. There were no social media. The journalists are using social media as a tool, and that's why it's getting in their heads. There was no social media in your time. The class of 92, there was no social media in your time. There was only newspapers. Come on, guys. If he said, I'm sorry, you're playing for Manchester United, it comes with the territory. You've got to step up. Okay, so He says, I don't know. I never blamed anybody else when we lost football matches. And I played in a dressing room that basically when you lost football matches, you came in and you said sorry about that, lads, today. He's saying that there was accountability at the time when he was talking about, things when they were playing and all of that. Are you in the dressing room to know whether these lads apologize to themselves or talked about these things or have conversations? That's why it's annoying to hear this. And that is the same thing Amorim is saying. And he's just basically responding to it by doing what Amorim said they do. I was going to go into a video to talk about this. I'll talk about it eventually anyway. He says, I'm sorry. No, he says, I don't know. I never blamed anybody else when we lost matches. Did anybody blame anybody? People are already making narratives out of whatever and they wanted to see. That was said in a dressing room with that basically when you lost football matches, you came in and you said, sorry about that, lads. I was a mess for that goal. There was accountability. Why would you blame other people when you are losing matches? So he's saying Amorim is blaming the media because we're losing matches. Yeah, Gary Neville, yeah, he always talks. I didn't see him talk and commend Amorim for the win against Sunderland, albeit, yes, it's only Sunderland, but if you didn't win, yes, you lost the team, you lost this, you're out of your depth and stuff. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Anyway, let's just kind of wrap this up and move on to the next thing. So, what does this all tell us about Manchester United right now? That we're the biggest club in the world. We bring clicks. That's the fact. The club is changing dramatically. Ratcliffe is running things leaner and tougher than ever before. Obviously, Amorim is trying to shape the football identity while battling early criticism, especially from the media. The academy is growing, is evolving, and redevelopment plans are on the way. It's also a season of growing pains, no doubt about it. But if you strip away the noise, there's a clear direction, long-term sustainability, which has always been the language of Amorim since time, and of Ratcliffe as well. They're all speaking from the same book and everything because they understand that they're on the same page. Modern football structures and a commitment to rebuilding the culture is what is the aim for this new leadership. And even if it means discomfort for now, the rebuilding, and I mean, we've seen it from £50 million investment in Carrington. So the big question is, will fans actually stay patient long enough to see it pay off? Or we're going to just put another manager on chopping block and fire him? It is what it is. You have to try to back the team and all of that. Because between tactical experiments, the behind-the-scenes chaos, and the ruthless decisions being made upstairs, and one thing is for certain, Manchester United are not standing still. They are still trying to evolve. We are still evolving. And the evolution as of now, as we know, is never painless. That is a fact. Evolution is never painless, right? So basically, let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. We could all go on and on talking about stuff. There's a whole lot going on. There's a whole lot of drama. It's an international break. We're not going to leave you hanging without bringing you any of the news that we see. We're not going to leave you hanging without telling you most of the things that we see on social media and all of that. But yeah, if you're still watching, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the chat, especially on this Carrington situation with the rebuild, redevelopment, and all of that. With the cost cutting as well. Let me know your thoughts and feelings and all of that. Is he risking United's soul? Right, just let me know your thoughts and feelings. I mean, Man United is growing, Man United is evolving, but also thanks for tuning in. I don't take it for granted. I don't take your conversations and all your chats and stuff for granted. We build community together, we evolve together, we grow together, and I'll continue to do some deep dives and some analysis into certain things, and also give my own opinion as we build together. I'll build a community together. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one, right, where we'll break down the next match, which is, I think that'll be pretty much next week. We'll do the match preview for Liverpool, but we'll continue to bring you all the news as they come and all of that. And we'll also talk about some things that Amorim needs to change, especially with the midfield, to get United back on track, especially as we prepare for the next block of games before the last international break of the year, and then the next block of games which will now lead us into the transfer window where we can actually make notable changes to build this squad back, or bring the squad back together. Until then, stay passionate as a Man United fan. Always stay together, stick together, back your team, back your manager, back the club, and always, as always, glory, glory, Manchester United. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as relates to Manchester United. I'll see you on the next one. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe. Please, 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 please. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye, and God bless.